Hello and welcome to the course on language assessment. This is an important course in the program for English language teacher training, not only in Vietnam but also in many countries in the world. It is estimated that a teacher often has to spend about 1/3 of the working time for assessment. We hope you will find many interesting and useful information about how to do and organize the assessment and testing activities in your English classes after watching. The course contents are formulated according to competency-based approach, covering common tasks and steps in the language assessment process, including some major topics, namely the fundamental concepts in language assessment, the assessment purposes and methods, the assessment theories, instrument development, classroom assessment tasks, etc. Particularly, students will be introduced to the key in measurement models and how to apply it in assessing English language competence. Besides equipping students with knowledge and skills to conduct assessment tasks, the course also aims to promote students' autonomy, self-assessment, and critical thinking skills via analyzing the problems and performing major assignments. Firstly, let's think about what you have known and what do we need to learn in terms of language assessment. Please pause the video for a few minutes and think about the current situation of language assessment in Vietnam and the world. What assessment activities are happening in primary and secondary schools? What types of questions or tasks do students in colleges and universities have to answer in their tests and assignments? What are the tests or methods for large-scale, provincial, or national language assessment in Vietnam? In defining what teachers and testers need to know in language assessment, Funches in 2012 has proposed a model with 3 types of knowledge. The first is the practical knowledge, skills, and abilities for language testing. Secondly, teachers need to know the processes, principles, and concepts which can guide their practice. The highest level of knowledge assessment people need to understand are the philosophical frameworks which can explain for practices and developments in the field of language testing. You can see that this level is highly theoretical and may not be relevant to practical classroom assessment tasks. So, our question is, what can we learn among these contents and to what level should we expect to achieve? In this course, we hope to help you find the answers for a number of questions. Number 1. What are the steps in classroom assessment process? Number 2. How can language assessment purposes be classified? Number 3. What are the bases for determining the assessed language competence in general and in each language skill? Number 4. What are the alternatives in language assessment methods and instruments? Number 5. How to drive selected response questions and constructed response questions. Number 6. How to score language performance assessment. Number 7. How should language assessment results be analyzed and reported in the classroom? The major course objectives include the context, the principles, the processes, and the competencies in conducting language assessment. Course contents include major stages in the assessment process. Each contains even more specific tasks with clear performance requirements. All of these general objectives and contents are reflected in the lesson contents, lesson activities, and assessment tasks. The structures of the 10 modules in this course follow the following steps in the assessment process: identifying the assessment purposes, identifying the targets or objectives for assessment, identifying the scoring methods, explaining the results and giving feedback to students on their English language ability. To be specific, in the first module, we will introduce the differences among key concepts such as assessment, testing, measurement, and evaluation. We will also introduce the different assessment purposes and the assessment process and the choices teachers or assessor may make in each of the steps. In Module 2, the importance of learning goals or objectives for language instruction and assessment practice is stated. Moreover, we will learn the parts of a language learning goal or a language learning objective, the qualities of a good language learning goal, and many examples of how a communicative language ability framework is realized in assessment will be provided to help you link the theory and the practice. In Module 3, more illustration can be seen. You will learn English language assessment targets in 4 major skills, such as what do we assess in speaking assessment, writing assessment, listening and reading assessment. Module 4 introduces to you a very important and practical content, which is the different methods in language assessment, their strengths and weaknesses, the factors in choosing suitable assessment practices. Modules 5 and 6 make Module 4 clearer by describing different types of language assessment instruments, the types of closed-ended questions such as multiple-choice ones, true-false ones, and the key rules in writing and evaluating them. You will know how to distinguish a good and bad multiple-choice question. If you are making your own test, you will find this unit very interesting and relevant. Also, you will learn the features of open-ended question, performance-based assessment question, and especially a focus on essays, a category of open-ended questions. The main rules in designing and evaluating performance-based language assessment instruments will also be introduced. In Modules 7 and 8, after knowing about different types of questions in the last modules, the principle for scoring different types of assessment questions or assessment tasks will be covered. How to score accurately, how to write the criteria. After the module, it is expected that you will know the types and features of good scoring instruments, as well as the common errors in designing scoring rubrics. Next, a very critical content for teachers of English is presented in Module 9, the methods of giving feedback on student progress and how to give feedback to help students learn. A content which is mentioned many times in the course in all the modules, but only summarized in the last module, is the major qualities of a good language test and assessment. In the last module, you will summarize all the knowledge you have learned and compare and contrast the meaning of different qualities of good tests. Understand the techniques to improve the quality of your test and assessment plan. It is in this module that you learn to distinguish a good assessment plan and a poor one. So, we have covered quickly the contents of the modules. What about the materials? The 2 textbooks we rely on to develop this course are Language Testing in Practice and Educational Assessment of Students. In this course, you have 2 types of assessment. Formatively, in each module, you need to finish the quiz, the performance task, and the reflection task. At the end of all modules, you have a final quiz with multiple choice, true, false, and closed task to do, and one 800-word essay describing and evaluating a classroom assessment plan that you know. Well, let us give you some tips in doing the assignment too. In order to do the assignment too well, the learner needs to describe and evaluate an authentic assessment plan in real Vietnamese high school context, such as in grade 10, grade 11, or grade 12. If you are not teaching, you need to interview another in-service teacher that you know in a specific school and to formulate this plan. and perform the assignment. Some of the guiding questions for you to do this assignment well are: Number 1. What are the steps to conduct assessment? Is the assessment process sufficiently presented in this assessment plan? Are there enough steps that you have learned in the course? 2. What are the purposes of assessment? Are the assessment purposes clearly mentioned? Are they formative or summative? Number 3. What are the assessment targets of tests? Are they well written, based on cognitive and competence-based models, and are they clearly stated? Number 4. Are there any efforts to enhance the quality of assessment, such as reliability and validity, authenticity, etc.? Are the teachers instructed to provide informative feedback to students? Are there different assessment methods, such as selected response questions or open-ended questions? Are there any essays? What are the instruments for these methods? Are they good? An assessment plan is among the first materials a teacher is exposed to as they start teaching, so you should benefit from knowing and evaluating such documents. To do this essay assignment, besides transferring what you learned in the course into a practical context, you also have to meet other requirements, which we will say later. The criteria for scoring the essay include using assessment terms exactly, understanding the assessment process, understanding the assessment purposes, commenting on the quality of assessment plan, understanding the principles of assessment methods, understanding the quality principles of assessment instrument. If you don't understand the criteria, please don't hesitate to ask in the forum. In this video, I have introduced the basics in the course of language assessment to you. We really hope you will learn something from the course that help you develop your abilities in the teaching job. Thank you and see you again soon.